Frank, let me bring you in on this. Let's talk about that IEBC reconstitution itself. We seem to be getting this wrong every single time there's a reconstitution of IEBC. At this particular point, as the selection panel is being put in place, what should they consider? And how do we ensure that we don't go back to the same issues that we've always had?
Thank you for having me, Trevor. First is we can't afford to go wrong on this occasion. But I'm afraid that we still have made fundamental mistakes leading into this process. First is having been involved sufficiently in the process, I have a feeling that we shifted away from the fundamental issues. And if you look at the profiled reforms, we focused on the process of appointing commissioners, and in my view, have more political representation than any other. And I see quite a challenge there, that there can be challenges in terms of settling on the candidates because of the unseen hands in the machinations of the panel, and I just cross my fingers and hope that that does not happen, and wish the committee well in terms of getting sober Kenyans that are merited to handle this very sensitive job. But in terms of the actual reform process, I was a little bit taken aback by the work of the National Dialogue Committee that tended to focus on the basics of constituting a selection panel, ignoring a lot of work that has been done through various institutions like LSK, through the presidential petitions, Katiba Institute, and even the Supreme Court rulings, several rulings by the Supreme Court, which have defined the constitutional, operational, and political issues that bedevil IEBC, that I expected that Parliament would, and we made these ambitions as stakeholders, that Parliament would have gone into to consider clearly, so that then the reforms are done in a way that we have a functional IEBC. There is cohesive in the team. There's a clear demarcation between the secretariat and the commissioners, and we do not seem to have the challenges of Hassan and Oswago and Chiloba and Chebukati, and then the boardroom rupture that we had at the last minute. So I am a little bit hesitant to really be hopeful that we have nailed it finally, but I just hope that this selection panel does its job, and if Kenyans wanted to challenge these things, then they realize that now it is in their hands and not much about the political processes that seem to have some leash, however long it is, that there's that mentality that these appointees have a connection to listening like your earpiece to some instructions, which makes me a little bit hesitant to be a believer.
Onduko, what would you like to see as the young generation in terms of the constitution?